Welcome and thank you for attending this presentation today. It's not exactly a presentation, it's a clinic, right? I am here dressed as a doctor, I'm a physician, and I'm ready to answer to your questions, if you have any problems with medical translation. We can talk today about problems in specific terms you have, or maybe you want to talk about the market, the medical translation market, the current state of the medical translation market, which is changing a lot, has changed a lot in the last few months during the confinement and during the lockdown because of the COVID. But let's start by saying good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are, whichever the time it is. And say thank you very much for being there. It's a great joy, and I'm very, very happy to be here today because it's we have been planning this for months. As you can see, we have a beautiful display, and this is due to the very hard and very intelligent work of Translators. This company, which has adopted me and many others, because they have a multiple variety of courses. You know, they are a company made for people who love communication, made by and for people who love communication, and they have lots of courses, mentors, and of course boot camps also. And I am involved in some of them. Please visit their website and try to see if there's something that some way they can help you. But for today, let me start saying a deep thank you to Alfonso Bordalesi, who is the CEO of TranslaStars, and who is the head of this team of people. It's not only me, it's not only him, it's a lot of people working to achieve what you see here. We're having here people from La Haya, and the people from Ciudad de Mexico. Hola, Gilberto. And do you know that we will repeat this clinic? We will repeat it tomorrow in Spanish. If you want to, if you rather prefer me to speak in Spanish, which is my mother tongue, as you probably have guessed. Now, but I think I can do it in English too. In order to open the fire for this, it's not very, not very well, a very good idea to open the fire in these days when we are on the verge of a war. No, but let me start by giving you a pill, if you want to. I would like to I would like you to provide you with a pill, for a medical translation pill that you should take once a month. You know, if you take it in English, it's the second Tuesday of every month. We will be here, and we will be talking about the problems of the issues of the medical translation job, and any new things, news of the state of the art of the translation, what's happening with the companies buying each other. I don't know if you've heard of that, but the companies are, hello, Cecilia. The companies are buying each other wildly in the last months, and maybe you want to talk about that. Matias from Chile, thank you for attending. But the purpose of this presentation is to listen to you. Please write in the chat, talk to me, let me know what do you want to know about the job. Yeah, I can offer in exchange my experience. I've been a medical translator and proofreader for more than 35 years, and since I wasn't the most stupid one in my class, and I'm not very smart, but just enough to have learned a bit. As as Aldous Huxley said, he said that it's a little bit embarrassing that in his case, after 45 years of researching and teaching, the best advice one can give is that you should treat more kindly the rest of the people. That's also my conclusion. My conclusion after 35 years of teaching and learning and translating is that please try the others kinder. Be kind to the people around you. But besides, I have scientific, linguistic, and professional approaches to our problems. Today, let's start with this pill that I'd like to you to take once a month, every Tuesday, second Tuesday of the month, if you take it in English, every second Wednesday of the month, if you take it in Spanish. And for that, I will share my screen with you and show you this. And Saturnino desde Madrid. Hola, Saturnino. Let us go for today's pill. It's a medical translation pill, as I told you, every... gracias, Juanjo. Muchas gracias. Every second Tuesday of the month, next on March the 8th. Today's pill will be about the translation of a spike. This is the kind of pills I will provide you with every second Tuesday of the month. Do you know that translating a spike to all the languages is a common token today? Because we are all translating, all medical translators are translating about the virus, the coronavirus, and it has spikes on its surface. And well, it's a little bit difficult to translate if you don't know very well what it is. It is the key to medical translation and to translation in general terms. You have to understand perfectly the meaning of the source, the language, the starting language, and to have in your head Spanish enough and medicine enough to translate that into Spanish. So if you want to translate the spike, which I've seen, oh my God, from Tehran, welcome, Amir, welcome. I'm very proud. Really, to me, it's an honor to have you here today. As you can see in this slide, spike in English has many meanings. We will see that most of the times means, particularly in these days, in the context of epidemiology and virology, we have the meaning of the spike related to the coronavirus. But also you have on the top left, you have if you have a graphic, there is a maximum there, and you can see that's a spike too. So first definition of a spike, the highest point in a graphic, that's a spike. You also have a second definition of the spike, spike heels. This type of female usually, and but the same chain, unfortunately now, where spike heels can be worn for whoever wants. Not my case. I don't feel identified, but I don't feel like wearing those. But why not? Why not? That's a kind of imagination. But those are spike heels. Heels. I've said it properly. The third definition of spike is the image in the center, and this is the spike of intravenous perfusion kit. This is the part you spike into the skin, the patient's skin, and it has this shape, this particular shape. That's also a spike. We also, on the far right side of the slide, you have also wheat. When you're talking about wheat, that's a spike of wheat. What we say, una espiga. That's in Spanish we say espiga, and in other languages you have other ways to say it. And the last definition of a spike, you have a hedgehog here on the down left. You have a hedgehog, and these little things which will pinch you if you attack if the animal feels attacked, are also spikes. So that's all 5 meanings for a spike. So translating in general terms, a spike was a difficult word to translate before coronavirus came into our lives. So be careful, learn all these meanings and remember all that. But what happened? That when people start talking about this on here and on your left side, this small buds, protrusions, these small masses, this is a glycoprotein, which is on the surface of the presentation, of the virus. They call them spikes too. Well, in a way, they are spikes. If you think of the infusion kit I've told you before, of the spike heels, or something protruding, budding from, and this particular shape. If you think of it carefully, it could have received many different names. They call them spike. And I don't know where did they bring the association between the photograph you can see on your left side and the photograph you can see on your right side, which is the crown of the king of my country, Felipe VI, Philip VI. That's the crown of Spain. Do you see any similarity between those things? But someone was watching this image on the left side, thought of a crown, thought of the kind of a crown, and crown in Latin and Spanish is corona. So that's where what gave the name to the virus. So allegedly, appearance of the virus like a crown. I don't know if you see a crown there. I don't at all. But it makes it more difficult to translate. I'm talking, of course, that you all probably all know very well how to translate a spike to the languages you translate into. But if you think of the complex of this situation, a spike with 5 different definitions before coronavirus, then someone who saw under the microscope saw the virus and saw this particular appearance and decided it was like a crown and gave the name. Say this is a coronavirus. So this is I'm telling you about this because this is the history of many of our problems as translators. There are things which have names given under other circumstances, historical, epidemiological, personal, other circumstances, which we have to know to understand well and translate properly. What happens really is that what you see on your left is a representation, is a rendition of the reality of the coronavirus. What they saw under the microscope was more like this. You know, they saw, well, you see there those round things on the left side with the spikes there. And well, probably there are some crowns that if you look them from above, like the microscope is looking at them, yes, that could be a crown. That makes it a little bit easier to understand the point. But if you look at the other image on the right side, there's nothing there to resemble a crown. So what is the translation for this? Well, that depends on the language you are translating. They are translating for a spike. We have that when they mention that in English, they mention spike. They can mention the stick, let's say the heel, if there's protrusion, or they may mention the protein. It's a protein, it's a glucoprotein, which is forming it's called the S for surface, S protein, glucoprotein. So depending, and in English they will use them in this, with no difference. They may be referring to the spike or to the protein or to the surface protein or to the surface glycoprotein. So it's up to you to decide if you have to translate by spicula or by a proteína S in Spanish. When I'm translated into Spanish, or into proteína S, or there is even there's another possibility, but I cannot recall. But espiga is very good. Proteína de la espiga, if you want to say spike protein, that depends of how the tissue is treated in whatever you are translating. And this is all I wanted to tell you about the spike. I hope you've learned a little bit. This is the kind of pills I will provide you with every second Tuesday of the month. And now I would like to see, I don't see, the comments here. May I ask you, let's see, Philip Slenak, I really like your enthusiasm. May I ask you, do you know any knowledge about courses of seminars, even a book, to get the medical language necessary for the translation? Something like basic blueprint terms based for use. Well, not in English, Philip, I'm sorry. We're planning to, of course, we have that in Spanish. I teach that. I teach medicine for translators and interpreters, for medical translators and interpreters. That will be by May. I think it could be interesting even for a non-Spanish speaker, because it's very visual, and you learn medicine, you learn particularly physiology and anatomy. That's what we're teaching this year. Probably next year we will teaching diseases and therapies next year in the bootcamp or in a future bootcamp. But by May we have this bootcamp. Thank you for your words, Philip. Liliana Maria Carosino, Mone, thank you for your kind words. What do you think are the main potential direct clients for the freelance medical translator? Is it impossible to compete against translation agencies to get work from pharmaceutical companies? It's impossible to compete against translation agencies to get work from pharmaceutical. Why do you say that, Carlota? Then it's not impossible to compete against the translation agencies to get work. I don't understand very well your question. You see, what I see now is that, of course, small translation agencies are disappearing, unfortunately, very unfortunately. And then what is happening is that the large ones are buying and eating and destroying the small businesses. Of course, there's a few of them which are surviving, but most of them have been acquired in the last years. But still, you have two options. You have the option to regret and to cry for the past, or to join the future. And I have voted for the second past, and I'm joining the future. And the future is that we have to get adapted, as we got adapted to CAT, to computer as aided translation. We then get we are not trying to accept machine translation in our lives. That's the future, my friends. I'm very sorry to say that, but because at the beginning we thought it would be only a tool, but maybe it will be more than a tool. We want to talk about that later. But today, working for a couple of good CROs with all the instabilities and the problems they have, it's a very good business. Sorry, let's just stop sharing. It's a good business, and they are providing with a lot of work in different conditions, with very short deadlines, and great amount of words that you have to do in a little time, probably pre-translated by a machine, and they need. Fortunately, they cannot go ahead without a human supervision. And that's what we are entitled to do now. It's difficult to find jobs. I'm still getting a few, but I think my position is not very common. So it was wonderful when we translated with a lot of paper here on the machine, and we just translated. That was wonderful, but that's a past. And I know there is a lot of issues here of rights, of confidentiality, and many issues to treat here, but. Looking for direct began your way of thinking about working in medical translation, beginning by think of direct clients. I only have a few, and they came to me after many years of working. They searched for me. I had to make this display of being in the media, publishing books, teaching all the time, and then the direct clients came to me. So I don't know how to look for them. I'm sorry. Thank you so much. We have here. What do you think are the main potential direct clients? And this is again, sorry. I have. Silvana Rocha says that she's worked for. How much study do you think? Sorry, Silvana. Think it's necessary to translate medical material? Well, Aribel, you don't need to study medicine. The whole 6-year term. No, you don't need that. Thanks to God. I did it. Fortunately, that's why I'm wearing these. That's why I have this here. Just in case we need it. But one day we will talk about this thing. Probably you know what it is, a stethoscope. But there is a drum here, a drum and a bell here, and there are parts of the phonendo, the stethoscope, which are important. How much have you studied? I think that it's quite accessible to acquire the medical background you need probably with my boot camps or any other courses about medicine for translators. I've seen another offer offered by the Universidad de Salamanca. I've seen that, but I've been looking to the teachers, and as far as I know, only one of them is a translator, and only one of them. All the others are doctors. Of course, they know a lot of medicine, but I don't think that's useful. A doctor telling you how is the liver and how are the biliary tract and the vesicle and where the gallbladder and where are they in Spanish. It's not. I don't think it's very useful. What you need is a physician like myself who has been translating for many years and has tackled the problems of medical translation. And then what I teach in my bootcamp that you will see in May, if you want to join us, if you come to my bootcamp, you will see that what I teach you is what is difficult to teach. For instance, if I talk about the heart, and I tell you where the heart is and how there's chambers there, what I will focus is on the fact that atria, which are the upper parts or the upper cavities of the heart, are not atrios in Spanish, but auriculas. That's a problem. When the first time you face that, you don't know medicine enough, and you want to translate atrium, and you think, well, I will say atrio, which is another Spanish word. Or there is another part of the heart which is called auricle. And it's not an auricula, which are auricula, which are parts of the heart. Well, these are translation problems with only a physician and a medical translator know. So if you look for them if you surf the internet looking for medicine for medical translators, pay attention to the teachers, to the tutors. Are they both physicians and translators? If they are not good for you. I'm currently specialized in sports psychology. Oh my God, that's fascinating, Analia. I'm taking course on the topic, but not translation-based. Is it enough? Probably, I don't know about in that particular case. Although I wrote a book, I'm the author of a book, a book we wrote many years ago, Sport Podology, Podología Deportiva. And it's a classic. They have to study that in Spain. many generations of the students have had to study my book about Podología Deportiva. I don't know if what you're doing is good. It's very good. So I encourage you to study medicine alone without a translation focus. But it would be great if you could find a fusion of these two disciplines, right? The translation of psychological, how was that? A sport, in sports, I can't recall very well. Sports psychology. I'm taking courses on the topic, but not translation based. It is good. I don't know if it is enough, Analia, but it's a very good choice. You have to study a lot in order to be good at the sport psychology, and then probably they using a good glossary, and there are glossaries everywhere for any specialization that you may be prone to. So keep on studying, taking courses of sports psychology, but try to look for good glossaries in case you need to translate them. We have here a message from someone from Bosnia, just flow. Translators, could you give us some advice on the tools we should use for medical translation? Well, the tools for medical translation. First of all, you need a good dictionary. A good dictionary. If you translate into Spanish, the best dictionary is in a website called Cosnautas. I think I can write it somewhere, or maybe translators can give us the www.cosnautas.com, and there's a wonderful. You have to pay to subscribe and pay. It's not very expensive, but if you translate medical text from English into Spanish, you need this this tool. Cosnautas is absolutely necessary. You cannot, in case you don't www. Thank you, cosnautas.com. I will take a picture of this. Thank you. Thank you again. That is one of the tools, right? A very good dictionary. Maybe because Nautas is made up of several dictionaries. You have one of the good one, they call the Red Book, which is about medical translation. But there are many other dictionaries. So you have the tools. Please keep this. Keep this question by Silvia for a hold it for a second while I finish with the tools. You have the dictionaries. You need. You also have for open access to the dictionary of the Spanish National Medicine Academy. I don't know, la Real Academia Nacional de Medicina de España. You have this dictionary, Diccionario de Términos Médicos, www.dtm.es. And there you have this is free. It's and there's a very good dictionary, also a very good tool, very good, made by part of the team of Cosnautas also. And it has the backup of the Royal Academy, Medicine Royal Academy, Real Academia Nacional de Medicina. I don't know if the order of the adjectives is correct, but that's a very good tool, and it's only Spanish into Spanish, but they also have a hidden some help in English, so you can use it as a dictionary, a current dictionary from English into Spanish, Spanish into English. Is very good, very accurate, and it's very well written. The question from Silvia Gonzalez: I have taken many courses with Dr. Mugüerza. In my opinion, nobody explains. Thank you. Medicine on a translation basis like him. My medical translation have improved so much. Thank you to you, Silvia. I thought it was a question, not a celebration, but thank you. Carlota: I said that because I get the feeling that CROs and pharma companies would usually prefer to work with agencies, especially because they will have their text translated in many different languages, for example. I'm not very sure about that. I work for a couple of CROs, and the largest, probably, I think I work for the largest one and for one of the largest too, and it's my own, and it's me there, and I think I am not in the, in the pool they use for sending translations. The first one, this terrible system we have now that will pass. Believe me, I know you probably you're in a pool and you said, I passed this CRO's test. It was so difficult for me. I passed and I joined the pool, and now I'm in the pool for this client, which will be sending a lot of work. And you see them on your mail. They say here, work and work and work, but you never get it. You become mad trying to get the jobs. This system will pass. It happened time ago when CAT, computer assisted translation, appeared 30 years ago, 25 years ago. There was something similar to that. There was a time when they tried to do this. This will pass, believe me, and you will stop suffering because you're not getting the jobs. You see them there, and always when you try to reach them, they have expired. That will pass, believe me. It will take months or years, but it will pass. And CROs are working with these pools, and of course there are smaller companies there. But I struggle. This is Reyes Pusca. I struggle to translate the English passive voice into Spanish, and I come to the impersonal se, and it keeps. Well, the pasivo con se, what we call the pasivo con se, is the best solution for most passive. Of course, the other, English, medical English is written in passive voice, most of it. No, patients will be assigned to different groups of therapy, but that's that sentence we are translated all the time, and we should not translate that into passive. We can say se asignará a los pacientes a los diferentes grupos de tratamiento, or we can say what we call periphrases, right? You can use a myriad of different solutions for each sentence. That depends on the text you are translating, and maybe it requires only passive as we said, right? And it's useful and it's good. My point in this job, in this career, is that you always have to translate by trying to get into the shoes of your reader. Your reader is a doctor, your reader is a nurse, your reader is a healthcare provider, or your reader is a patient. Patients need more creativeness if you are entitled for it. If you're entitled to provide creativity to your translations, patients will be grateful for that, because they want that. They don't need boring text, and most medical text, even for patients, are boring. But going back to your question, passive voice is mostly translated with pasivo con se, occasionally with an actual passive voice. In Spanish, maybe it's necessary. No? These forms will be filled by the investigators. Well, occasionally you can say, estos formularios deben ser cumplimentados por el investigador. And there are some occasions where passive is. And the rest of the time, it's your imagination. That I have answered. And here, within the medical test, Silvana Rocha, hola Silvana, it's also important to choose areas that are like neurology and psychiatry, for instance, have much more in common than neurology and gynecology. I absolutely agree with you, Silvana. In my opinion, in our job, what is more convenient is the ultra specialization. There's people who think the opposite, that you have to be able to translate different areas, of course, medicine and legal, and maybe a little audiovisual. And there are a few of us who think that the more you specialize, the better. The more you specialize, the better you know your job, and you know your glossary, and you know your language, and you know the techniques and the procedures, and the type of patients, and the therapies, the drugs, the clinical trials. The more you specialize, the better. There's people who think the opposite, not only covering different medical, legal, audiovisual, but maybe within medicine. I will try several specialties. Okay, if you can group them, as you say, and say psychology, neurology, psychiatry. Why not? That's a very good idea. A very good proposal. As regards this Liliana Maria, hola Liliana, as regards to Carlotta's question, maybe the agencies will be good to start to get into the path of your career. But once you get experience enough, you could be contacted directly by the CROs and other clients too. My humble opinion. I agree completely. It's a good idea. Start by the close companies, small companies, headed by people you know in your country. There are, for instance, in Argentina, I can think of 5 or 6 small companies who are fighting out their way in the market, and they are getting it. And they are very, they have the name of the owner, who is the CEO at the same time. And I'm sorry, I mentioned in Argentina because I know that, but it's happening also in Chile. Think of Verva Volant. With my great friend Renato, and they started as small companies, and they are reaching wonderful goals, and they are teaching also. So maybe it's a way. What I don't see is that you said, if I start with small clinic agencies, then I will be contacted by CRO. I don't think CROs contact you. Well, I don't think they will do that. You have to always be after them, searching them, looking for them, writing to them, offering you the possibility to translate. And one day they will say, okay, let's have a test and see what you were able to do. Plain language for patients. Of course, Matias Carvajal, thank you very much for pointing that out. Plain language for patients, please. it's still difficult for me. I will be 60 years old next September, and after more than 35 years working as a medical translator, I still find translations for patients which are not in plain language. They have to be in plain language. Think plain for patients. Patients are people who are vulnerable. They are suffering. Think of when you translate for patients, and we do translate for patients most of the time. Many of you are translating today or tomorrow informed consent form. Are you actually thinking, as I always say, of some member of your family, a member of your family, a people you love, a person you love who is sick, who is difficult with reading papers and understanding, probably an old people with a disease, a chronic disease. Think on that people and translate for that person. Is it your grandmother, your grandfather, your uncle, your cousin? Translate for him or for her. And think, are they understanding what I translate? Will they be able to understand what I am translating? That's very important. Plain language for patients. Okay, thank you, Matthias. That's key. Let's see, we have more questions. Thank you to you, Silvana. I see that, yes, there are many questions, of course. From Bosnia. Thank you. This Duska, I don't know pronouncing this properly because I learned a little Serbio-Croatian many years ago, when Yugoslavia was still a whole country, and I learned a bit, and I can say Dobar dan and Drugi and a few things, but so you share that we can cry for the past or opt for the future. That's what I think, and don't wait to be 60 years old. Please embrace the future. It's already here. So thank you, so many thank yous. But I don't see. Gracias, qué interesante. Este es el principio. Entonces yo creo que ya se han cansado ustedes de escucharme y aquí tengo otra pregunta. ¿Tú o usted for general information leaflets for patients? I would say usted, but that depends. That's a personal. Translating is making personal decisions. You're all the time deciding the tone of your text, the term, the precise term. You maybe you have to change the tone of your text along it because it demands it to you. And we're taking all the decisions all the time. So there is. In many countries in America, I found that they think that here in Spain we treat everyone as two, and we don't. For not in my background or in my environment, maybe others do. I don't know, but we still translate a leaflet with usted. We'll only use two when from my point of view, when I have the evidence that I am translated for children, right? Occasionally you have not an informed consent form, but an informed assent form, and that's for a child, probably less than 6 or 8 years old, and if they try to get this assent, a kind of confirmation, and then I use two there to talk about to address the children. This is important because if you have the same clinical trial and they have patients who are older, maybe 18 years old, maybe 20 years old, and patients that are younger, many even 2 years old, and they are represented by their parents or their legal tutors or wherever, you have to decide all the time, using usted, using to, depending on who are you talking to. That's not something that machines will never do. They will never know if they have to treat the reader as a teenager or as a child or as a toddler or as a legal tutor. No, so it's that you can see that the machine translation mixes usted and two. Maybe you can find, because they get from the memory a sentence which is similar and was addressed to a child. The answer to your question, usted. If you have no other direction from your client saying what to do, the primary subject for me is usted. I always treat the patients from usted. Thank you. Juska Jakovlechib. Well, that's different. Havala. Yes, I remember Havala. How long have we been here now? For 45 minutes. And there are more questions here. No. So we don't need to exhaust this very first day today. Let's provide you with some information. Can you repeat the question, please? As I haven't, Silvana, been here since the beginning of the interview. I don't know if you said about your specialty in medicine. I don't have a specialty. My specialty is translation. When I finished medicine in this country, in Spain, that was 1987. You've been studying for 6 years at college. Thank you. You have been studying for 6 years at college, and then the choices are: you now study for 2 years to pass a test, a national test, to enter the training as a specialist. That's another 4 or 5 years. And I said, I've studied enough. When I was very young, and I wanted to leave, and I was very golfo. We say, what's the context? So I answer to you now, Axibel, but that's why I didn't get a specialty. I had studied enough. I wanted to be a doctor. I preview what happened with Spanish doctors, which are now a very bad situation with the COVID. This has been ruin, a very big problem. They are not well paid. They are not recognized by the governments. They work a lot. We have a very good social system in Spain, very good. They did work because it used to work very well. It's not working very well now, although we are vaccinated. And the context of my bootcamp, what I teach in the bootcamp is anatomy and physiology. I teach you where are things, where are the borders, which is in contact with the word, and how it works, and how the heart works, and how the lungs work, and how the kidneys work. But always focusing on translation. Be careful here. This is translated like this, and this is translated like that. That's what makes my bootcamp, I think, appealing for getting a medical background and not feel bored. What? Sorry, there's been another question. There's been another question at the beginning. Again, talking about tools. What do you have to do if you want to translate well into whatever language? Is to read medical English, French, wherever you are translating into. In my case, read good medical Spanish. And the medical Spanish is in a few books. Please, I don't know how to write in the chat. I don't see the option here. But anyway, I can say it, and probably they will find it. There's a book called Human Physiology, Fisiología Humana, by Dr. Tresguerres. Has many editions. He was my teacher at the college, pharmacy, the drugs therapies at the second year. Dr. Tresguerres, Fisiología Humana. That's the best book I know to read good medical Spanish and at the same time learn how the physiology of our body. And it's very good. It's a very good one. Then you have the classical Harrison's Principles of Internal Medicine, which is translated into many languages. And at least the translations I know into Spanish, I had the honor of coordinating the translation of the 13th edition. Now they are on the 20th edition, I think. But it's always, I'm sure that it's still a good translation. And those are books that you can find on the internet for free. They're very expensive books, huge books. and you can read. And I will give you a tip, a little trick. Dr. Tresguerres, thank you very much. That's all you need. Dr. Tresguerres, Fisiología Humana, and you will find the PDF on your own. Thank you very much. Thank you very much to the people behind the screen. You also have the Harrison's medical. And I said I do have a tip. Probably, unfortunately, you have a relative with a disease, so maybe you have a disease your own, diabetes, I don't know, ELA, amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, Parkinson, Alzheimer, any or corona, or the infection by the SARS-CoV-2. Start like that. Read about that on those books I have told you about. Read about how the lungs work, and because this emotional burden of having your relative sick with any of these diseases or any other, I don't know, this age-associated macular degeneration, which is so common. We will all have that. Probably your father or your mother is suffering from that. And there's a wonderful moment to understand how the eye works. I explained that in the bootcamp also. We have one day or one dedicated to the eye and the vision. So going back to my presentation, let me say this. In case this has not been enough, and you want to keep in touch with me, you can always visit my website and see it's not completely updated. We're working on that, and we will have it. But you can see what I do and how I do it, and keep a record of what's going on in the profession. Also, very important, if you are going to be a professional translator, if you are a professional translator, consider having a Twitter account, a professional Twitter account. We are there. We are on Twitter. Many of us medical translators are there. We are talking to each other every morning. It's like an open chat where no one has compulsory there. You don't have to be. You are there because you want. You can ask for help to get a job. You have a problem, something you don't understand, or just sharing what is done. I share, for instance, every morning I share on Twitter what I will do that day. I will translate 2,000 words from here. I will be reviewing tests. I will be interpreting interviews, which is something I do. I interpret interviews into English. Or I always tell what I'm doing to try to show to my followers the many possibilities of developing a career in our context. And also, you can, and I deeply encourage this, you can still go to Facebook. You know that now Mr. Zuckerberg is saying that he has taken Facebook out of Europe because of problems, privacy problems. And if that happens, that will be a disgrace, but we will survive. Don't worry. We are, of course, we are taking measures to preserve this Facebook wall, Traducción Médica Aplicada, which is, although you see the name in Spanish, it's half of it is in English, and you will understand very well. Most of the texts are in English, so it's very easy to follow. Try to join us. It's a closed group, but it's very easy to access. So ask for an invitation, and we will all be open to you. It's free, of course, and we are more than 10,200 people there, students, physicians, biologists, teachers, a lot of people always trying to help. Our motto is to help and to learn. And that is going to be everything for today. 50 minutes. I think you haven't had time to get bored. First of all, I see you next Tuesday, if you want me in English, on March 18th at 6 as today, 4 p.m. That will be well, I go with that. I have a question here. Axibel Peña Mena, not only medicine for translators, but also very useful tips be taken into account when translating and to improve your style. Greetings. Yes. We try to. I always try to. I'm sorry to say this about me, but I'm very good at for sympathy and to getting into your shoes in this case, and to know what you need. I teach all the time. I have students all the time, all along the year, hundreds of the students every year, and so I know very well what you need. And at the same time, I teach you anatomy of physiology and the bootcamp. I know where the problem is for you, and I try to help you there, and tips for translating, and even tips for living, which maybe I am entitled to help you too. So as you can see there, we will meet again next Tuesday, March the 8th at 4 p.m. and we will have a raffle like today. I don't know exactly who has been, of those of you who are there, one of you, we are offering a physical copy of my book, this Manual de Traducción de Inglés-Español de Protocolos de Ensayos Clínicos. You can see it there in yellow, orange, is it orange, yellow, ochre? Well, I don't know. I like it. And this doesn't. You cannot buy it. You can download the PDF for free. If you look for it, it's very easy to find. The Esteve Foundation. You can download the PDF. But if you want a free copy, we will send it to your home, as you can see, to your home address. But all you have to do is to subscribe. That address you can see there, and tag to friends. And that way, in the future, you'll be part of the pool and we will raffle this book. Thinking that at the end of my presentation, we will be told who's been the winner of today. Here is Paola Pantaleon. Paola Pantaleon, you have to contact me or TranslaStars. Congratulations, Paola. And if you want me to dedicate it, I'm happy to do it, and we will send it to you to your postal address. You provided us with your postal address, and congratulations. Gracias a ti, Silvia. Gracias a ti por asistir. Thank you for sharing your knowledge, says Silvia. Thank you to you. Let me remind you of that you've seen me. You haven't seen any other of the people who's involved in this presentation. As you can imagine, this is very hard work of months that we are primarying today. This is the first our presentation. Tomorrow we will go for it in Spanish. We are there for you. We are here, and thank you and appreciate very much for attending. That's all for today. Thank you very much. Thank you, Sarah Cecilia, and see you tomorrow. See you next month. Bye-bye.